get stuck in a bit of traffic, and it's a reminder of how much work we have to do on infrastructure in this state. So I think, first of all, thank you very much for putting all this together, and to all the elected officials who make this happen, and most of all for all of you who've given up your evening to hear one more candidate for public office and to be here for me. So I think maybe the best way to begin is just to introduce myself a bit. I guess I'll start by saying my name is J.B. Pritzker, and I'm running for governor because everything we care about is under siege by Bruce Rauner and Donald Trump. I've been married for 24 years. I don't want to forget to mention my wife because our 24th anniversary is coming up shortly in a couple weeks. And so I keep saying it to myself to remember that it'll be just in a couple of weeks. And she's obviously an incredibly tolerant woman who is engaged in this endeavor as my partner. We have two kids, a 14-year-old daughter who's a cross-country runner. She's actually a state-ranked cross-country runner, and obviously she gets her athletic ability from me. And a 12-year-old son who's a football fanatic. We don't let him play tackle football, but he knows everything there is to know about it, the NFL, and he's a bit of a math whiz too. I grew up in a home where, maybe like some of you, a small business home, because my parents really had started out with one motel that they were building up. And so this was a joint endeavor by them. And so as I grew up in that, I don't know how many people here grew up in a small business home or are running a business yourself, but when you're a kid in a small business household, you're in everything about the business. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you're talking about it at breakfast, and when you get home in the evening, you're talking about it at dinner, because it's what your parents are doing. And so that's the way it was in our home. And my mother, when I was heading off to my very first job at age 14, had some important words of wisdom for me. That job was at the motel, not strangely enough. And maybe like your parents, my mom wanted me to have the hardest job at the motel, or at least one of the hardest jobs. And so the job that I was assigned was picking up the dirty sheets from the different motel buildings, and then taking them to the laundry facility and putting them in the industrial-sized washer, and then moving them over to the dryer. And that's what I did every day for the first summer job that I had there. The more important thing about that first summer job and that first day really was, what my mother said to me on the way out the door. And you remember how nervous you were at the first job that you had. I was very nervous. I didn't know what it would be like to work for, a bunch of older people that I didn't know, and how hard it would be, and I just didn't know what it would be like. And I was heading off to catch the bus to go to the motel, and my mother stopped me and she put her hands on my shoulders and she looked me in the eye and she said, "Now remember, you have to work twice as hard as the guy next to you because you didn't earn this job, and he did." And my mother told me that for reasons that I'll explain and maybe are obvious to you, but so many people get told that very same thing for different reasons. That you've got to work twice as hard at your job, maybe just to keep that job. My mother told me that first day, of course, because she wanted me to know how lucky I was, that I had good parents, and that I was able to, would be able to go to college and afford it and be able to pursue the things that I wanted to pursue in my life. And it's something that I think about. What she said to me that day is something I think about every day, that I've got to work hard to earn the things that I've been given, that I've been very fortunate. And so